Question 21. Which organ detects the changes in the carbon dioxide concentration of the blood? The organ would be the brain. The receptor would detect the change and impulse would be sent to the brain. So the answer would be A. Next question. What is the equation for anaerobic respiration in yeast? Anaerobic respiration means that oxygen is not involved. So the answer wouldn't be A. A is the equation of aerobic respiration. The equation for anaerobic respiration in yeast would be glucose being converted to alcohol and carbon dioxide. While anaerobic respiration in the muscles would be glucose being converted to lactic acid. So the answer for this question would be C. D is the equation for photosynthesis. Next question. Which food type when eaten in excess will cause a rise in the urea content of urine? That would be the protein. Protein will be broken down to amino acid with the help of the enzyme protease. Then the excess amino acid would be converted to urea through the process called deamination, which occurs in the liver. Next question. The diagram shows a simple reflex arc. What is the correct order of events after the knee is tapped? First of all, the receptor will be stimulated, then the sensory neuron is activated, then to the relay neuron, then to the motor neuron, then to the effector. Muscle will be stimulated. So the answer would be 4, 2, 1, 3, which is C. Next question. Diagrams 1 and 2 show the appearance of the front of an eye. Diagrams 3 and 4 show the shape of the lens when viewed from the side. Which diagrams show the appearance of the eye when focusing on a near object in bright daylight? So when focusing on a near object, the ciliary muscles would contract, while the suspensory ligaments would dilate. The lens would be thicker to increase the refraction of light. This is a process called accommodation. While in bright light, the circular muscles would contract, while the radial muscles would dilate. They are antagonistic. It is an antagonistic action. So the answer in bright light, this would be the first. In bright daylight, the circular muscle would contract, while the radial muscle would dilate. And when focusing on a near object, it would be 4. The lens would be thicker. So the answer is 1 and 4, which is B. Next question. The diagram shows a seedling fixed to a rotating platform. Light is directed from one side only. The platform was allowed to rotate for 2 days. The rotation was stopped and the apparatus remained still for a further 2 days. Which diagram shows the appearance of the seedling after this 4-day period? So the first 2 days, it is allowed to rotate, so the light distribution is even, so it will most probably grow like A. Then the rotation is stopped and then it remains still for a further 2 days. So during this time, the light is only exposed to one side of the plant, of the seedling. So this side would receive more light and hence it would grow like this, since this side would grow faster. So the answer would be D. Next question. Alcohol is a drug. Which statement is correct? Drug causes you to be more relaxed. It is a depressant. So the answer is B. Next question, which statement about fertilization is correct? Fertilization is the fusion of nuclei. Fertilization is the fusion of nuclei of the male gamete and female gamete. So the male gamete is the sperm, the female gamete is the egg cell, or you can also say the ovum. So the answer would be D, two haploid gamete nuclei fuse to form a diploid zygote. The haploid gamete, the two haploid gamete is the sperms and the egg cell. The haploid gamete means that a haploid means that only consists of one set of chromosomes. Diploid means that it contains two sets of chromosomes. So the answer would be D. Next question, which role links the hormones with their cells in controlling the menstrual cycle? Causes the cell to mature is FSH. FSH stimulates the growth of follicle, forming Graafian follicle. Causes repair and thickening of the uterus lining is the estrogen, which helps in the repair of endometrium, and it causes release of the egg cell would be the LH, which helps in ovulation and maintain uterus lining, is progesterone. So the answer for this question would be B. Next question, in a cell where are amino acids assembled to form protein molecules? So how protein is made is that, first of all, the gene coding for protein remains in a nucleus. Then the mRNA molecules would carry a copy of gene to the cytoplasm. Then the mRNA passes through the ribosome then the ribosomes assembles the amino acid into protein molecules. And the specific order of amino acid is determined by the sequence of the bases in the mRNA. So the answer for this question would be ribosome, which is C. Next question, a man has the genotype for a recessive sex-linked condition. A woman is heterozygous for this condition. What are the chances of the man and woman having a daughter with this sex-linked condition? A sex-linked condition is whereby the gene responsible is located on a sex chromosome, and in this case it is the X chromosome, and that this will actually make it more common in one sex than in the other, and in this case it is more common in men. A woman has an XX chromosome while a man has an XY chromosome, so the probability of having this condition is higher since they only need one chromosome for them to have this condition. So we draw a Punnett square. The question has also told you that the woman is heterozygous, meaning that it consists of two different alleles of a particular gene. And the question has also said that it is a recessive sex-linked condition, meaning that the allele will only be expressed if there's no dominant allele of the gene present. So the woman would have this genotype. So this would be a female without the conditions since that's the dominant allele, and this would be a female with the condition, and this would be a male without the condition, and this would be a male with the condition. So the chances of having a daughter with this sex-linked condition is 1/4, which is 25%. So the answer would be C. Next question. In an animal, the allele for black fur is dominant to the allele for white fur. The Punnett squares show 4 crosses, which 2 Punnett squares show test crosses. So test crosses is a genetic cross of homozygous recessive and unknown dominant genotype. So the answer is 3 and 2, which is C. So test cross is the genetic cross of homozygous recessive. These are homozygous recessive and unknown dominant genotype, meaning that you know that it has this allele, but you don't know if it is this. You don't know if it is heterozygous or if it is homozygous. But you know that it consists of this one because it is dominant, meaning that it is expressed. So the answer for this question is C. Next question. People who are heterozygous for the sickle cell allele have a survival advantage over people who are homozygous for the sickle cell allele. What is the reason for this? This would be because they're resistant to malaria, which is C. People who are homozygous would have the sickle cell shape, so that the information for D is incorrect. Next question. Some features of plants are listed. Which features are found in hydrophytes? Hydrophytes are plants that grow in water. So for plants growing in water, we would like a large airspace inside the leaf for buoyancy, so that to actually keep them close to the surface of water where there's more light for photosynthesis. And stomata, we would also like a stomata on the upper surface of the leaf so that there would be more gas exchange with the air instead of the water. This would help in gas exchange. We wouldn't want a large root system since small roots are required as they can actually extract the nutrients from surrounding water through their tissues, so a large root system is not required. They would also wouldn't want a thick cuticle. They will want a thin cuticle instead to prevent the water loss. So the answer would be 1 and 2, which is A. Next question. Ammonification is the decomposition of plant and animal protein to ammonium ions. Which sequence of events can occur in the nitrogen cycle? You have to remember what happened in the nitrogen cycle. So the question have told you that ammonification is the decomposition of plant and animal protein to ammonium ions. So what happened is that ammonification will produce ammonium ions, then followed by nitrification, producing nitric ions, then denitrification, forming nitrogen, then nitrogen fixation. So the answer would be A. Next question. The graph shows the number of producers and primary consumers in a lake over 1 year. Temperature and light intensity are also shown. What is the most likely to cause the decrease? What is the most likely to cause the decrease in the number of producers during April and May? During April and May, there's a decrease in the number of producers. What is the reason? What is the most likely cause? I think the answer would be because of the primary consumer. Since the increase of primary consumer is the steepest, The light intensity and temperature also increased, but the question asked for most likely. So the answer would be primary consumer, and increase in the number of primary consumers. This would be the most likely cause for it. Next question. Some statements about bacteria are listed. Which statements are reasons why bacteria are used in biotechnology and genetic engineering? First is correct. They contain plasmids and they also can make complex molecule, and they have a rapid reproduction rate. 4 is incorrect. 5 is also incorrect. So the answer is 1, 2, and 3. Bacteria do share their genetic code with many organisms, and that's why it is used. So 5 is incorrect. Next question. Which enzyme is used to create complementary sticky ends in genetic engineering? That would be your restriction enzyme, in which it will actually help to isolate the DNA, forming a complementary sticky ends. The DNA ligase is an enzyme that catalyzes the formation of recombinant plasmid. So the answer for this question would be C. Next question. In 1870, approximately 20.4 million people died as a result of famine. In 1890, approximately 10 million people died as a result of famine. To the nearest whole number, what is the percentage decrease in death from 1870 to 1890? So this is the maths question. We just the change in the people that die over the original number of people that die, and then the answer would be D. After calculating this out, it will be 51%. Next question. Some fish populations have greatly reduced in size as a result of overfishing. What are the effects on a species of having a very small population size? A more small population size doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be more adapted. The answer would most probably be B, and C is definitely incorrect. There will be lesser competition for resources, and having a small population size also doesn't mean that you have fewer genetic disease. Having a smaller population size meaning that there will be lesser mutation, and hence there will be lesser genetic variation, there will be lesser change in base sequence. So the answer is B.